Hi, I'm Eileen, and I'm a 20-year-old that just finished about a year of straight sporadic solo traveling. I did my first solo trip a year ago when I was 19, and I left for 2 months and hit UK, France, Italy, the Netherlands, and later in the year did Japan, Canada, and more. I've had plenty of experience and have done a ton of research on planning, safety, managing your fear of being alone, making friends abroad. Here's what's on the agenda, and we'll go ahead and dive straight into point number one. First thing is choosing a place. Initially, when I first went out, it was actually super daunting because I was like, what if people think I don't have friends? Like, what is this weird? Like, this is weird. How am I gonna make friends or meet people? So I think a good way for you to choose a place is to, one, go online and search up like safe places for female solo travelers to go. So usually I recommend Europe because there are a lot of other solo travelers there. I know when I went to Japan, it actually felt like quite lonely, to be honest, because I think the cultures are a little bit different. But yeah, I would go online, check lists, and go on Reddit, see resources, go on TikTok, and see where you want to go and do a little bit of research. To get comfortable doing things alone, you can start small and even start in cities that are really close to home, or just go out on a solo date. Like, take yourself to a restaurant by yourself, go to a bookstore, go on a walk. All these little things can add up and help you get comfortable once you're actually out across the ocean or like in another place by yourself, so that you're actually comfortable navigating the spot. I actually also recommend more touristy areas. I wouldn't start a solo trip in a place that's like super unfamiliar, you're not familiar with the language. Go to a place where people can speak English. The first place that I went to was London. I feel like that was a great introduction to my Europe trip because everyone in London speaks English, but it's also like another city or in another country. And then from there, it was like really easy to access the rest of Europe. And that kind of helped me like get my foot in the door, if that makes sense. But yeah, start in a touristy area, do a little bit of research, and do small things to help yourself get comfortable. Organize and plan your trip using Google Maps. I really like Google Maps because you can see where everything is in proximity to like where you're staying. For example, for Japan, I did a little bit of research on the certain places I wanted to go, search them up on Google Maps, and all you do is hit the save button and it'll save to a folder. And anytime you navigate on the map, you can see these little blue dots. And like that'll make it really easy for you to trace which direction, where to hit first, depending on the area that you're in. Yeah, this helped me stay super organized. And for recommendations of where to go, I really like using TikTok, and I feel like that has some great recs from real people. When it came to planning, I'm not the biggest planner, so this is how I would tackle it because I'm kind of more free flow, on the go type of girl. Before you go on a trip, find the places you want to go, save them to maps, and then lay out some sort of Notion or Google document to like, or ask chat to like separate your days on which places that you want to hit within that city. Third thing I'm going to cover is transportation. Let's start with flights. If you want a cheap flight, I really like using Skyscanner, and I don't know if this is just a myth, but it's worked for me. But I'll go on incognito mode, then Skyscanner, and then usually I'll get some like really nice prices. Or you can also utilize, I utilize my travel credit cards a lot, so I have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I'll link it in the description below as well. The TLDR is if you use a credit card, you'll often get rewards or points. So if you just swipe your credit card when you're out shopping at a restaurant or like you're at the mall, you'll like gradually get these points. Whereas if you use a debit card, you're not getting any points for that. And the points you get from a credit card, once you rack up enough of those, you can use it to redeem for like hotel stays and flights. So that's a really great way to travel hack, and I've done it a lot. But that's covering flights. One mistake I made with train tickets was booking them the day of, especially when I was in Europe. So if you want to plan out your itinerary a little bit more and buy your train tickets in advance, Trainline is great to use for that. Other tips are to screenshot all your tickets, connections, and routes and save them into an album on your iPhone. It's really important that you can stay safe and still navigate as much as you can. I would avoid renting your own vehicle in another country if it's your first time. Just make sure to do some research and travel during the day if possible. So when you're landing into the country, like don't be landing at 2 a.m. because I've tried public transportation when it's like super late at night, and that is not always the safest or best feeling as a girl. So to cover accommodations, I personally like hostels and hotels and not Airbnbs. The reason I say this is because at Airbnbs, there's no one really to watch over you. Like one time I was opening the key in London. It was like a physical Airbnb key. And this like really sketchy dude is like walking by, and it's like 10 p.m., really dark. There's not that many people on the street. And so I'm like opening the door and I'm struggling to open it. But he's like walking by, making direct eye contact with me. And again, the street is empty at night. It's just me and him. And like he's staring at me as I'm like playing with this key, trying to get through the door that's not opening. And eventually it does open, and I like run in, and he's still looking at me. So it's just like, I don't know, go to a hotel or a hostel that has like a 24-hour service desk. That's gonna make you feel a lot safer, and that way you know there's always someone with you. If you ask me about hostels versus hotels, I would actually recommend hostels because you can make a lot of friends through that. Personally, I found that hotels felt quite lonely and emptier. At hostels, they usually have like social events. Like they had this tote bag painting night. They'll have like happy hours, scavenger hunts. This one hostel I went to in Italy literally had a rooftop pool and a bunch of activities, and I made some friends and we all like ended up going out that night together, so it was really fun. With this, again, I would say location matters the most. So when you're choosing a hostel or a hotel, again, I would try and stay in a more touristy area so that there are more people around you. Number 4 is making friends. Again, going back to my last point, I would recommend staying in hostels because I met a lot of like really cool people, and I actually like re-met up with some people I met from a hostel in like the UK, and I met up with them in another country, in Italy again. So it's like you can actually make really good friends. And the best thing about the hostels is almost everyone is kind of in the same boat. When you're meeting other travelers, they're usually a lot more open to meeting new people versus people from like college or high school that are typically, not to be mean, but a little bit more closed-minded when it comes to meeting new people and branching out of their comfort zone. Because if you know you're traveling, you're out of your comfort zone, then there are also a lot of other people doing the exact same thing. So it's actually a lot easier than you think to spike up a conversation. Some of the coolest friends I met, I just went to like the hostel bars downstairs and just started yapping with random people. And this one girl, for example, I met in Milan. I was just doing homework at a desk and she came up, sat next to me, we started a conversation, and then the next morning we ended up getting coffee/breakfast together, and I'm still in contact with her to this day. So just come in with an open mind and realize that most people in this world are a lot nicer than you think, a lot nicer and more open than you think. I think you'll have no problem with making friends. And this is coming from someone who is usually super introverted. So yeah, it's actually not as intimidating as you think. 5 is how to plan activities and optimize for the best day. I personally think it's a mix of pre-planned and really spontaneous activities. So when I say this, I mean, go on the Google Maps, find the places and the things that you really want to do. So for example, if you're in Rome and you want to see the Colosseum, like save that spot, book down a time, but also leave room in the rest of your day to like kind of explore and stuff. For example, when I was in Italy, I had like a full day planned where I was originally just gonna go to the beach, but then I found this group of 3 other girls and they were gonna do this pasta making class with some Italian who had like a wine cellar and like lived on a farm, and we ended up going to this person's house because they hosted like an Italian dinner. It was like the best pasta, the best dinner and sunset I ever had with some really cool girls from around the world, and it was just like 4 of the girls plus this person's family, and it was like the cutest dinner ever. So leave room to be spontaneous. So I highly recommend giving yourself time to just walk around the city at random areas. Be spontaneous, plan some things, but also like let yourself free flow and have fun with it. Number 6 is managing alone time, which again, I know can feel really scary, but if I could go back and say this tip, I would say start small. Start with a lunch, go to a park alone, go sit, go read a book, journal, bring some pens with you so that you have something to do, something to think about. And if you are starting to feel lonely, would highly recommend calling a friend from home or like talking to some family members. Also give yourself a pat on the back because you are alone by choice, and you are here and you already have taken this leap of faith, so you know that you're strong enough to you're strong enough to conquer this trip, if that makes sense. And I think for me personally, traveling alone got a lot easier with time. And as I kept on doing these small things by myself, like going to restaurants alone, like going to cafes and just like being by myself, sitting in my thoughts, as I kept on doing these small, uncomfortable things, I'm now at a point where I can just go on a full solo adventure by myself and be completely fine. So just know that it'll be good as long as you start small. Safety tips: avoid being out at night super late. Don't be walking around when it's dark outside and when there's no one there. If you are out at night, be in more heavily populated areas so that you know there's people watching. Share your plans with friends. Use Find My, like share your location with people, make sure someone knows where you are. If you're interacting with strangers, I would actually recommend not sharing that you're traveling alone. Something that I would say is, oh yeah, I'm meeting up with a friend that lives in, I don't know, X country. Also, during the day, try to make sure your activity is not too far out from the place that you're staying, because you don't want to be stuck in the middle of nowhere and have like a 1 to 2 hour transit to get all the way back to your hotel, because that's usually not the safest. And also be cautious with drinks and alcohol. I know some friends that have just gotten blasted or like super drunk because drinking culture is really big, especially in Europe, and a lot of it's just big in general. So you want to make sure you're safe. You don't want to get spiked. Like, don't overdo it, and be really careful about who you're drinking with as well. Whenever you're in a new country, I would also recommend saving the emergency numbers and having all your hotel info ready. Again, I like to go into my Apple albums and make an album for like important documents and things that I need to know for this trip. So some key products I like to have. I have this really big travel backpack. Sadly, I don't remember where it's from, but I'm sure you can find one off of Amazon, and it's literally humongous. But I bring this with me everywhere. Like, I've been to over 30 cities across the world. This has been with me everywhere, and it has a little passport pocket in the back, which is really nice so that people can't like take it. So get a little travel backpack. When you're packing, I would travel as light as possible. I know people that have had just one backpack. Personally, that is a little too small for me. So I always have like one backpack and then a carry-on. Get an eSIM so that you have data/connection abroad. I like to use Verizon for my spare battery packs and chargers so that you don't run out. I was on a hike and I almost had my phone die and I almost lost direction, so bring the extra charger. Bring a little tripod so that you can take photos and videos. I would highly also recommend getting a digi or a camera, because there are so many moments I wish I documented but I didn't. So camera is always nice. Meeting with friends and having a speaker is actually kind of convenient, believe it or not. Other essentials I really like: having a toothbrush with me in my like travel stuff, luggage locks and regular locks, especially if you're staying in hostels. If you're gonna leave your luggage out in the open, you don't want someone random to steal them. Not to scare y'all, but it does happen. But as long as you have a luggage lock and you know your code, you should be completely fine, because no one's gonna like go dig through that. And also a water bottle. Anyways, that was a lot, but if you've ever solo traveled before and I missed some tips, then make sure to leave some in the comments below and leave some tips for everyone else to see. But best of luck on your trip. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna change your life. Sounds so cliche, so cornball, but literally solo traveling made me the person I am today, bro. Like, traveling is just awesome, and it's honestly even more fun when you're alone sometimes. So yeah, hope this helped, and I'll see you guys next time. If you want more videos like this, then make sure to hit the subscribe button below.